My daughter told me not to come to her house anymore, said I was confusing the kids. So I checked my bank account and realized she'd been quietly taking money for years. When I cut off her access, she didn't apologize. She told people I was losing my mind. What happens when protecting yourself costs you your own child? Like, comment, subscribe. My daughter sent me a message at 6:42 a.m. Please don't come to the house anymore. It's confusing for the kids. We need space. I read it twice. Then I sat on the edge of my bed and stared at the wall. I was 71 years old, still in my pajamas, holding my phone like it might explain itself. Confusing for the kids. I had watched those kids every Thursday for 3 years. Packed lunches, picked up from school, sat on the floor building puzzles when my knees hurt. I still had finger paint stains on an old sweater in my closet. I didn't reply. Instead, I opened my laptop and logged into my bank account, the one I'd added my daughter to just in case after her divorce, the one she said she barely touched. There it was, a transfer from my savings, dated yesterday, labeled house expense. I closed the account access. Took less than 2 minutes. Then I made coffee and waited. 40 minutes later, my phone started ringing. I didn't answer because I already knew this wasn't about space. It was about control, and I had just taken it back. I didn't know yet what she'd been telling people about me. After my husband passed, my world got smaller. Not sad, just quieter. I kept routines, morning walks, church on Sundays, soup on Wednesdays, babysitting Thursdays. That one mattered most. My daughter, Lisa, called it helping her get back on her feet. I called it being useful. She had a hard divorce, 2 kids, mortgage stress. So when she asked if I could co-sign a loan, I did. When she needed access to my account for emergencies, I agreed. When she said she'd pay me back later, I nodded. Later never came, but I didn't complain. I clipped coupons, delayed replacing my furnace, told myself this was what mothers did. Things changed slowly. Pickups became last minute, thank yous disappeared. I stopped being invited to birthdays unless I brought something. One day, my grandson asked me why I didn't live with them like before. I didn't know how to answer. I started noticing small things, new furniture in their living room, weekend trips, a new phone Lisa hadn't mentioned. Then the text came, "Don't come anymore." No call, no conversation, just a boundary I never agreed to. I sat alone that night eating soup straight from the pot, wondering when helping turned into being tolerated. The next morning, I found out she'd been calling me unstable. It wasn't Lisa who told me, it was my neighbor. She stopped me outside the pharmacy and said, "I hope you're doing okay. Lisa mentioned you've been confused lately." Confused? Apparently, I'd been showing signs, forgetting things, making bad financial choices. Lisa was very worried. I stood there holding my prescription bag, heat rising in my face. 2 days later, my pastor called. Lisa had come by the church office. She said she was afraid I was being manipulated, that I'd cut her off financially out of nowhere, that I needed guidance. I thanked him for his concern and ended the call. That afternoon, I opened a drawer I hadn't touched in years and pulled out bank statements, loan documents, text messages. I laid them across my kitchen table like evidence. I added the numbers slowly, carefully. $84,300, money I never agreed to give, automatic transfers I hadn't approved, credit charges tied to addresses that weren't mine. I felt something settle in my chest, not anger, something colder. That evening, Lisa showed up at my door without knocking. She walked in like she owned the place. "Why did you lock me out of the accounts?" she asked. I looked at her, really looked, and realized she wasn't worried about me at all. What she said next made my decision final. "You embarrassed me," Lisa said. "The bank called. My mortgage payment bounced." I didn't answer. She paced my living room, talking fast, explaining, justifying, blaming stress, the kids, her ex. I thought about the day she was born, how I slept sitting up because she only calmed down on my chest, how I skipped promotions to be home more. I thought about every time I said yes when I should have said wait. She stopped pacing and looked at me. You're choosing money over your own daughter. That was the moment. Because it wasn't money. It was safety. It was truth. I'm choosing myself, I said. She laughed, a sharp sound. You won't survive alone. You need us. That night, I didn't sleep. I imagined holidays without my grandchildren, empty rooms, silence. Then I imagined the rest of my life living scared, apologizing, being drained quietly. In the morning, I made an appointment with an estate attorney. I brought everything. I didn't cry. The attorney told me something I wasn't ready to hear. The attorney was calm, direct. Without documentation, recovery will be difficult, but protection is absolutely possible. We changed my will. Lisa was removed, not quietly, explicitly, with cause. A trust was created for my grandchildren, education only, controlled, untouchable. We froze my credit, closed shared access, documented every transaction. No drama, no threats. When Lisa found out, she didn't apologize. She sent messages. You're cruel. You're paranoid. You'll regret this when you're old. I didn't respond. She tried relatives, friends, even the school. I sent one letter, through my attorney. All communication must go through counsel. Any further harassment will be documented. Silence followed. For the first time in years, my phone didn't make my stomach tighten. I started sleeping again. I joined a walking group, had coffee with women who didn't want anything from me. One night, sitting alone with the lights off, I realized something unexpected. I wasn't lonely. I was free. The real justice came 3 months later. Lisa tried to contest the will. It went nowhere. The documentation was clear, the pattern undeniable, the trust ironclad. Her lawyer withdrew. I heard through others that she was angry, that she felt betrayed, that she told people I chose strangers over family. Maybe I did, because family doesn't drain you dry and call it love. I still see my grandchildren, through the trust, through school events, through letters they write themselves. They know I love them. As for Lisa, I wish her peace, from a distance. I used part of my estate to fund a small local program, financial counseling for older women, quiet help, practical help, no plaque, no ceremony, just protection. At 71, I learned something too late and right on time. Boundaries aren't punishment, they're survival. If this happened to you, what would you do? Would you protect the people who hurt you, or protect yourself? Tell me in the comments, and if this story felt real, share it with someone who needs it.